internal CSS. So previously you've already written some CSS, but you wrote that as inline CSS. And what that means is that you write the CSS inside of the HTML opening tag as a property, and then that will apply the CSS to that specific element. And that is one way of doing it, but it's not a very clean way of doing it because it just makes it very kind of buggered all the way through. Another way of doing it is internal. Okay, so this is really good if it's a single web page, meaning like it isn't like you don't have a multi web page, like it's just one page and it doesn't link to any other parts. Most web pages are not that way, but if you are just doing a single sheet, then it works pretty well for that. It will actually load faster if it is for a single page, since it doesn't have to load a second page, because there's another type of writing CSS called external CSS, where it's a separate sheet, and then it has to upload both the HTML and the CSS document. So it'll be faster if it's one page. However, it's not good for a multi-page document because you might have formatting that tells this to be, the text to all be white, for instance, right? And then that's inside of this CSS sheet. And then I have another web page that's, that's just connected to this, and that's also supposed to be white. Well, now I have to write it inside of this web page, and I have to write inside of that web page. But let's say afterwards, like, oh, you know what? We actually want the text to be black. But what I have to do is go to this web page, change it, go to the next web page, change it, and change it for every subsequent page. That's where external is better, because you can put it in one document and have it apply to all the pages. So internal is good for single pages, and it's good for that. A lot of times what I will do personally is, even if I am going to use an external sheet, I will write it all internal on one page, and then I will take that and convert that over to an external afterwards, and then use it for all of my web pages. So it's a good kind of way to start, and you're going to see it makes it a little bit cleaner. So what you do is you use a style tag, and that just tells the browser where the style starts and ends. So for example, if we were going to apply the style sheet, or the CSS, inside of the head. So remember, there's the head, and then there's the body, right? Everything we write that you see, the contents in the body. So inside the head, you write style, then you have your CSS rules, and then you end it with style. Okay, so that says style CSS starts here, ends here. So usually I put this right after, the title or whatever, somewhere inside of there. Yeah, that's how that looks. So each CSS rule, so each one of these is considered a rule. So there's the body and then these properties afterwards. This is the selector, so the selector and then this one looks for the H1 and then applies this. So each thing here, this is one CSS rule and this is another CSS rule. It contains two parts. It has a selector and then it has a declaration. Okay, and this is the declaration. So the selector here is the body, and this one has two declarations. It's going to say font family Arial, background color this. This is the selector, and then this just has one declaration. Now, the property will have two aspects. It will have the property itself, and then the value you're giving that property, right? So here's the property, here's the value I'm giving it. Here's the property, here's the value I'm giving it, right? So it comes in two pairs. So that's how it's written. And you would just write a bunch of CSS rules that will apply to each one of those subsequent elements.